Hello and welcome to a new Sega News Bits. I'm your host George, and with me we have two people on this episode, Barry.
Yo.
And Patrick.
Konnichiwa.
If you guys don't know Patrick, he owns the website of the Dead, so we're going to be talking about House of the Dead, so we had to have the website of the Dead owner to talk about the new House of the Dead Scarlet Dawns, which is coming out to arcades. So if you've been a House of the Dead fan, you've probably been waiting for the next arcade mega hit. We've had a lot of side games. We had Overkill. We had EX, which is like a dating mini game thing. So it seems like we're not going to get a new light gun shooter, but I guess all that has been, now we have one, right? With Scarlet Dawn, and it's also dropping the number and dropping the in the beginning of the title. So I guess it makes it a lot easier for newcomers to just not be confused, I guess. The testing for the cabinet is going to start in January 19th to the 21st in Japan. So we're not going to play it most likely until hopefully it comes out west. And it runs on Unreal Engine 4. And we only got about 10 sneak peek in-game graphics screenshots. So let's talk about the screenshots. I really like the way it looks. I know it's a lot different than the past games, especially number 1 and number 2. It has this like old school painting look to it, and like I don't really like the UI. That's my number one concern, is the UI, the bottom, the little models on the bottom of the life bar. But what are your guys' thoughts?
I want to say I'm fine with it. I kind of do agree with you with some points of the UI, like, you know, the health bars, the way. I like the way how they like show the character portraits and stuff, so you know which character you are and all that stuff. But it kind of does have that Street Fighter V vibe to it when you look at the art perspective of it.
Yeah.
And the overall and stuff, like judging from the screenshots, it seems that like the game takes place in Kyrion's mansion from the first game. So that's like a nice touch to that, like revisit some of the older, you know, settings from the original House of the Dead games. Like all the enemies and stuff, you know, they're like unique creatures and stuff. Like they're all wearing like these fancy looking clothes that you see like in the 1920s and 40s.
This game also kind of has that vibe from House of the Dead 4, where there's like a lot of zombies, like, because in the other ones it felt like it was more grounded, right?
Yeah, it was like a new mechanic where you can like have like several like zombies and creatures like all in one spot. And you have to like mow down all of them with your Uzi. I wonder what type of weapon they're going to be using in this game.
Yeah, well, I wanted to point out a few things I noticed in the screenshots. We do see the second player, in one screen there's a rescue scene, and you see the second player actually being attacked. So I'm assuming you start off the game with player 1 and player 2 doesn't come into play, because you can see it's like unlocked. There's like a yellow lock there.
Yeah. So
I'm assuming you start off, player 1 probably plays very briefly and then comes upon player 2, rescues them, and then they play. And we have this guy, we have this woman, he's wearing one glove. Neither of them look familiar to me. Then again, they might have redesigned existing characters and we just...
Yeah.
And then another thing I noticed too is there's almost like a World War Z kind of thing going on, where it's just waves and piles of zombies. And I'm wondering if they all kind of move as one entity. And then finally there's a motorcycle scene. Now, Patrick, you're probably more... you probably know more about the series than me. Are there a lot of like driving scenes in any of the games, or motorcycle scenes?
I want to say mostly it's actually in like all of them. Like the AMS, who are like the main characters of the whole story. They usually have vehicles, but like during in game, the only one I've seen like that had like driving sequences was like the House of the Dead 2 and 4.
I was gonna say we have this big creature too with the axe. What is that?
The chariot. That's the first boss you encounter in the first House of the Dead game.
Okay.
And I also want to mention that I've done an interview with Takashi Oda. He's the director of the House of the Dead series. When I did an interview with him, I asked him like, you know, like they're running out of names for like all the bosses and stuff who are like based off the tarot cards. So I asked them if there are going to be any bosses that might reach for like sequels and stuff, like Zeal and Crawl, who are like Judgment from House of the Dead 2. And he said if they're able to make a new House of the Dead sequel, like we might see some returning bosses. Magician, the final boss in House of the Dead 1 appeared in House of the Dead 2. He appeared in House of the Dead 3, but not as a boss, but like a bonus item, and House of the Dead 4 special. So like it's great to see like some returning bosses like Chariot come back.
There's like this whole new style for this game. What do you guys think about this running on Unreal 4, Engine 4? I'm assuming the other games had their own engines, so this would be the first game that's in the main series that runs on a, I guess, third-party engine.
Oh, it looks great.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And there's also a deluxe cabinet teased, and this is a theater-style cabinet with vibrating seats. And it really reminds me of the one for 4, the one that you could turn around the whole seat. But we don't know what it's going to be like until we finally get footage from the testing, maybe in a few days. So I have a few questions for you guys. So how do you feel about Sega dropping the out of House of the Dead? I always found it annoying that they had and I always skipped it when I write about it. So what do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I'm not bothered by it. In fact, I sometimes forget if it is the House of the Dead or House of the Dead. Even with Overkill, when you mentioned in the article, they dropped the, I thought, no wait, it's House of the Dead Overkill. They dropped it there, but they didn't. And I'm trying to think, I know House of the Dead Overkill was on iOS. Did they drop the there? Because
it's kind of harder because no, they might have dropped it from the title. Yeah.
They did, yeah. So the iOS one, House of the Dead Overkill: The Lost Reels for iOS, yeah, that they dropped the, and it's probably for search purposes. I bet they found that people just aren't looking up the House of the Dead. George, as far as developer, we don't know who's developing, but as I'm looking at these screens, I just want to point out there's a weird little green icon in the lower right-hand corner of every screenshot. Yeah. What is that?
It looks like one of those. It might be for motion controls, I believe.
Yeah, because it's gonna have motion controls. They said some sort of.
Okay, I was curious if maybe that was a developer logo, but I'm hoping it's in-house. I
think everybody's hoping that it's in-house.
I hope so too.
The next question is, we had a Twitter poll, and if you don't follow us on Twitter, you can follow us at SEGAbits. They only let you ask 4 questions, so I put 4 franchises that used to be popular in arcades that people want to see come back, and these are the top 4. Crazy Taxi was number 1, Virtua Fighter was number 2, Outrun was number 3, and Space Harrier was number 4. Which of these franchises do you guys want to see come back the most?
Virtua Fighter. I've been craving for some good fighting games lately. I've picked up Street Fighter 5 just to get the update for arcade edition, so I can get back into the fighting game scene.
I was just playing Street Fighter 5 before we recorded this.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing another Virtua Fighter. It's been over 10 years for all these Sega titles and stuff that I haven't had sequels and stuff, and they were very popular back in the heyday. So hopefully Sega Amusements can bring all those games back to the arcades, and hopefully they'll be ported over.
I'm gonna agree. Virtua Fighter, I think, is due for a sequel, and seeing that House of the Dead's getting a new game really gives me a lot of hope. We're also gonna see Virtua Fighter 5 in Yakuza 6. I think it's only a matter of time.
Oh yeah.
Get that name out there. Yeah, I have to agree with you guys. I love Crazy. I love all these games, right? But I'm a big fanboy of Outrun. But let's be honest, Virtua Fighter has been they need to come back to the fighting game scene, and it's been too long. So I hope that's what happens. What do you guys think about House of the Dead: Scarlet Dawn? Is this game that you guys want to see come to consoles? Is this something you guys want to play in arcades? Let us know in the comments below. If you like this video, subscribe, share, comment, follow, etc. And thanks for watching.
Don't come.
Bye.